Good afternoon, hockey fans, and welcome to another episode of American Beauties, your home for AHL news, notes, talkers, and more. We're brought to you by the Old City Sports Network. My name is Dan Bradley. Alongside me today is Sam Wismer. Sam, how you doing?
Good. It's been a week.
Getting through the holidays here?
Yeah. Had a game last night, have a game on New Year's Eve with apparently a huge puck drop. So, I don't know.
Sweet.
Phantoms do what they want.
Should be good. Should be a good time. Well, we are not going to waste any more time here. We have a very special guest that we want to bring on, Iowa Wild goaltender Zane McIntyre. Zane, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We are so excited to have you on. We've been trying to set this one up for a few weeks now to try and get things together. So I know with the holidays and with the practice schedules and everything, it's been a little tough here. So really appreciate you taking time to come on today.
Yeah, no, it's a busy time of year for everybody. And yeah, especially if you have a family and stuff too, the Christmas shopping and all that's good stuff. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I was in the middle of a 7-game homestand right now. Did you get to go back home at all for the holidays?
Fortunately, we were going to travel and go to my sister's place, but their family ended up getting COVID.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we did the executive decision and then just stayed put here in Des Moines.
Yeah, tough call, but probably the right one. And, of course, you don't want to be bringing that back to the locker room either and messing things up. So
yeah, no, exactly.
Well, speaking of that 7-game homestand, a win last night for you, for Iowa, a 5-3 win over Colorado. Take us through that game and what Iowa did to get the win.
Yeah, it was kind of back and forth. Coming back from the break, I think there was 4 goals scored in the first period. So I wouldn't say it was rust, but maybe not as perfectly planned defensively as on both ends, like for both teams. So yeah, battled back, had a good power play goal, and then a shorthanded goal too. So special teams was a big key last night, and ended up pulling out a big win at home too, which statistically this year we haven't been too great at home. So that one felt good.
Yeah, I was watching the game shortly before we came on here, and I was noticing a lot of the goals were coming from the defensive end.
Yeah, our D have been playing well. Just getting pucks through and delivering pucks to the net, and then even last night too, a couple really good screens in front by our forwards. So yeah, it was nice to see the D getting some goals from the back end.
Yeah, Central Division is really, as it is almost every year, it seems like pretty tough right up at the top. But Iowa in the mix and hanging around. What are you looking forward to here as we get now to the second half of the season?
Yeah, it's past year and some change that I've been here. It's always been tight. Any given night, like each team can get the upper hand, but it always seems at the end of the year like there's 5 teams that are vying for those spots, and 2 or 3 teams vying for that last playoff spot. So it's been a lot of fun, and obviously, yeah, come down to it, we're going to get through crunch time, and these games are really important here. Leading up to the playoff push and going into the playoffs. So, the second half is going to be fun, and will be a good challenge for us.
Being a veteran goaltender who's kind of been around the NHL and AHL a little bit, even earlier this year, you were called up to Minnesota and getting ready to go, and kind of some of the back and forth in there as well. How do you well, let me start off by asking, do you really prepare differently for an AHL game versus an NHL game, or trying to keep that routine mostly the same so that you're ready to go?
Yeah, we're all kind of creatures of habit and stuff, right? In our profession. So, yeah, we try to keep it as consistent and routine-like as we can. That way we feel comfortable going out there. So, I try to do that, but there's obviously a lot of moving parts when you do get called up. The travel, the packing, you just kind of ride that wave in a sense. But then once you get to the rink, you got familiar enough territory with the rink and being there at camp and whatnot. So you get comfortable, or as comfortable as you can, and go on the ice. And you've been doing it for how many years of your life and how many days of your life. So just another twirl out there, I guess.
Similar. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So when you do get that call up to the NHL, you know, because you have been in the game so long, what's the thought that runs through your mind, and like what next step do you have to take afterwards?
Yeah, there's I mean, yeah, things are going well. There's not too many thoughts going on, but then when things are maybe a little dicey or a little rough, like you kind of you have a lot of thoughts going on. So over the years, kind of learned to just keep it simple and maybe focus on one or two things when I get out there. Um, where maybe years past, maybe when I was younger in my career, I start to think about things way down the road or things in the past that happens. Whereas, yeah, you're not in the present moment, I guess. So try to keep it simple in that respect.
Do you think it's harder, especially let's say you're coming into the game in the middle of a game? You were starting the game as a backup and now being put in. Is it harder physically or mentally to get ready to go in that type of situation?
I mean, guess now that I'm getting up there in age, maybe maybe a little both. Yeah, not as limber or Gumby as I was back in the day. But I think it is a combination. I think past couple of years I've been working with like a mental coach, which I think has helped in those situations where we do some stuff leading up to maybe when I'd get thrown in there and come in relief. So that's helped. But I think, yeah, if you look at the numbers, it's probably statistically probably harder mentally to come in halfway, make saves and try and give your team a chance to win. But at the same respect too, it's maybe the game's out of hand or maybe we just need to turn the tide a little bit. So there's, I guess you play a little bit more free too. So it kind of, it's just how it's the perception of everything. So yeah, it's just kind of how you filter it and how you perceive the situation.
Definitely. We got a couple ads that we've got to read through here to just kind of keep paying the bills around here. Sam, do you want to take our first one there?
So yeah, Canna Dips is one of our bigger sponsors now, and if you use code OCSN, you get 20% off any of your tins. I've been using oh boy, tropical mango flavor, and it's definitely been helping, especially with this crazy, insane PA weather that we've been having.
Yeah, it's kind of been all the way through as well with the temperature drops, the ice, the rain. Zane, did you have that as you were kind of staying in Des Moines in the big cold blast last week? How much snow did you guys end up getting to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much snow we got, but it was pretty crazy with the winds. Yeah, it was hauling here, and it was negative temperatures for I think 3 or 4 days straight. So wasn't great. But then now you look outside, and it's sunny and like almost 40, 50 degrees out. It's crazy.
Yeah, we got down to negative 25. And I was just like, I'm not built for this anymore.
Yeah.
You're kind of used to those colder winters as well when you were up at North Dakota and playing high school in Thief River Falls as well. And I would be, I've told Sam, I don't know that my mom would let me back into the house, being a North Dakota fan that she is, if I didn't ask you about your time at North Dakota as well. You were made to the national semifinals in the 2014-15 season, played with and against a bunch of NHL and AHL talent players there. What are some of your fondest memories from your time at North Dakota?
Yeah, I don't know. I could talk for days about my time at North Dakota. It was a pretty special place, and yeah, just unreal experience and a great time in my life. I was kind of fortunate. I was super fortunate actually. Like being from the area, I grew up about an hour away from campus and watched many hockey games before that. Before ever playing one there at the old Ralph Engelstad Arena. Like my grandma was a professor at the college there, so I had some ties there, and she was a season ticket holder. So yeah, I just kind of grew up with the Sioux Green and green in my blood, I guess, and just really had a good career there because yeah, I was playing for something and I was playing for a part of my family, I guess, right? So yeah, I had a lot of fun times. We always had really good teams when I was there, and it would have been my senior year where they finally capped it off for us. we always challenged for a national championship. Never got the deal done, but the year I left, those guys took it all the way, and I was super happy about that. A little bittersweet, obviously not being on the team, but also super happy as a fan, just being a lifelong fan that they finally sealed the deal too. So yeah, a lot of good memories, a lot of cold nights up there, but a lot of great hockey people and a lot of great fans up there.
Yeah, the NCHC is always a tough hockey conference to play in. How did playing in the NCHC get you ready for a career post collegiate play?
Yeah, I mean, you look how many guys that come out of the NCHC and played pro, and not only played pro, but have big roles on NHL teams, on American League teams. Like there's a good amount of a number of names you can list off. So it was awesome. I mean, we go to battle throughout the regular season, kind of beating the crap out of each other, and forged us for good playoffs, and obviously a good run at national championships. And that's, I mean, yeah, you play the guys, best teams throughout the season. Like it's gonna prepare you for when it really counts. So yeah, a lot of great times, a lot of great battles, and yeah, maybe one of the better, maybe the best conference in college hockey.
I have to ask, when you and Matt Grzelcyk were teammates with Providence and with Boston, did you ever talk about that the 2014-15 semifinal?
There are a couple jabs thrown back and forth there, but
Always.
yeah, no, it was all in good spirit and stuff. But yeah, Grizzly's got a great story too, because he's basically the mayor of Boston and stuff, right? Growing up there, and then playing at BU, and now with the Bees. So yeah, we had a couple good times, a couple good laughs there, and yeah, unfortunately they got the better of us that game.
Sam, you're still muted.
Of course I am. I'm infamous for that, remember?
Yep.
What's it like when you go to a team and you're like, you look at some of the roster names and it's like, all right, I've played with this guy before. Like, what goes through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, now that I've played a decent amount of pro hockey, you can go through the list, look at the lineups, and yeah, you just remember, oh, this guy shoots that way. He uses this curve. He's remember a couple situations where he came down on like a breakaway or their power play situation, just kind of stuff that flashes back, I guess, and kind of recall those situations. And yeah, you remember maybe a time where he lit you up, or a big time where you got the better of him too. So there's always some emotions that go into it.
Can you take us through the moment as well where you got the call from the Wild organization that they wanted to bring you in and sign you to a deal to play in Minnesota?
Yeah. So you're referring to like signing a deal with Minnesota last year, or are you referring to like getting called up? Sorry.
Both.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Last year it would have been about this time. We got a call from Minnesota. I was in Tucson on American League PTO. And then from there, yeah, they expressed some interest, and it's a little tricky, kind of back and forth negotiations with the two sides, because they wanted something in return for me to get released on a PTO, and a little tricky as far as that worked out. But Minnesota obliged and sent somebody to Tucson and released me, and the rest is history. So that was pretty cool how it shook out. And then I ended up meeting the team in Grand Rapids and kind of went from there. And then the first call up would have been this year. That was just a day driving to our practice rink. Had practice there. It was a good practice. We were kind of exhausted after that one, but after practice, coach came in and just said, "Hey, something's going on with Fleury, and we just we're going to bring you up. So be ready to play. You never know what could happen, and just go out there and show them what you got." So super exciting. I got on the phone, called my wife right away, and got the ball rolling.
Yeah, as a Wild fan, I don't want anything to be happening to Fleury or Gustafsson, but definitely would love to see you get some ice time up there as well at some point here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you never wish that upon anybody, like injuries and whatnot, but it's kind of part of the game, and it is what it is. So yeah, always gotta stay ready and stay prepared.
Let's get into our next ad read here. It's we all know what time it is. It's about that 3 o'clock feeling rolling around. It's too late for lunch, too early for dinner, but that growling in your stomach needs an answer. When it calls, reach for Righteous Felon Beef Jerky. Use promo code OCSN for 15% off your jerky bundles, meat snacks, and more. Our boys with the Cincinnati Junior Cyclones absolutely love them. I'm going to be putting in an order here early next week once we get through the holidays and into the new year here. But yeah, promo code OCSN for 15% off your jerky bundles, meat snacks, and more.
Jesse Bell, Kalen Addison is doing well this season with Minnesota Wild. What's it like playing with such a determined guy?
Yeah, sorry, that's a question for me.
Yes.
Yeah. Question from our audience watching live.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, I was with the team last year. Addie was obviously a staple on our back end. That guy's as cool as a cucumber. Like nothing phases him. He's just like you said, super determined, but also like super relaxed and just talk about a guy who has ice in his veins. Like he's been awesome, and it continues to prove that up there too, right? Like he's always, once they have a knack or a little chip on his shoulder, but undersized in the eyes of pro hockey, but uses his smarts and his calm demeanor to make plays and raise everybody that he plays with levels even higher. So it's super good to see Addie doing well and you continue to do well. And yeah, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, that's got to impact your game as well, knowing that he's going to be calm and composed out there probably helps you relax and settle in a little bit more as well, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That, and like, he's going to make plays and help you out offensively and even defensively as well. But knowing that you got guys that can put the puck in that for you, if maybe one or two sneak by, they give you a chance to go and score some goals. But yeah, it's just steady influence back there.
So another question from the audience from David is favorite pre or post game meal?
Oh, good question. Pre-game meal is always usually typically the same, like chicken parmesan, good pasta dish, and post-game meal. We actually get that provided by the team now, which is huge. So there's always a different, I don't know, dishes every other day. But I think the best ones are like steak and sweet potatoes. Big steak guy, Midwest guy, steak and potatoes type of thing. So it's good.
Definitely. I know I'd love a post-game steak.
Yeah.
Every chance I
read
get.
that one, Dan?
Say again, sorry?
You want to read that one?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, Jesse says, thanks for coming on, Zane. You're an absolute beaut. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. It takes one to know one, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, so then we got to pay another bill. Go to www.oldcitysports.com. That's old with an E. And check out all of our other podcasts, articles, and more. We have an NHL league-wide podcast called, oh my God, I'm drawing.
Sunrise.
Thank you. And then we also have a Philadelphia Phillies podcast. We have a Rangers podcast. I think he's actually all New York now. Ice Cold Takes. We have a lot of podcasts and more coming on and articles every day. So yeah, we're doing well.
Absolutely.
And then Neshaminy Creek Brewing, visit www.neshamonycreekbrewing.com and check out their awesome beers, merch, and much more. They are in the Philadelphia area. So Zane, if you ever come back, go to Neshaminy Creek.
Perfect. Yeah, we know where to go.
So this is like one of my questions. Growing up, who are some of the goaltenders that you're modeling your game after today?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, growing up, didn't really have too many goalie coaches in northern Minnesota. So yeah, I would always watch anybody I could on TV. The two that stand out from college would have been like playing at the University of North Dakota. Jordan Parisi, Zach's brother, was a goalie there. and then JP Lamro. Liked watching those two guys. And then as far as pro, Ryan Miller and then Cam Ward, when he kind of broke on his scene, those were two guys that I really, I don't know, had a liking to, or really kind of gravitated to. So I'd say those were two college and then two pro guys.
Did you ever get to meet or play with or against either of those guys as well?
Never actually played against. Actually, I might have played Cam Ward. I'm trying to think. Maybe my third start in Carolina, against Carolina when I was up at Boston. I think we actually did go toe to toe. Yeah, Ryan Miller. No, I have not though.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to see if maybe you had gotten a chance to meet or play against those guys at all.
As soon as you said Cam Ward, Dan looked at me. I'm very much a goalie person. Goaltending is just mesmerizing to me. But just Cam Ward is definitely he's up there in the top 10.
Yeah, no, he's a superstar, and yeah, you look at those teams they had, and yeah, he's been big pillar of their success too. So that was he's a stud.
All right, one more read here. We got I think visit www.norsebeards.com. Enter promo code OCS for 25% off your Norse Beards products. So Zane, your goaltending journey has kind of taken you all over the world. There was the brief stint in the KHL a couple of years ago, 6 AHL teams in the past 8 seasons. What kind of a mental toll does it take with such tight competition for so few roster spots, and how do you overcome that kind of adversity?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's obviously a lot of variables that kind of go into that. Yeah, got done playing in Providence in Boston system. Spread my wings a little bit, and then went to Vancouver, and just got traded at the deadline. So there's a lot of moving parts, and I think over the course of each season, you learn and pick up on some new things, and you always try and improve every day. And it's definitely been mental toll as far as bouncing around. But in the same respect too, I'm just grateful that I got to experience all those places, meet a lot of good people, a lot of great teammates, and then not only that too, I don't know, pretty resilient in the fact that now nothing really phases me too much in the respect of, hey, can't get too far ahead, can't look back, what could have been too much. You just got to be here and present for the most part, and just where your feet are. So it's been a humbling journey in that respect, but also super cool and super fortunate for all the places I've been.
Now, with your stint over in the KHL, what major differences are there between being a goalie in America compared to being overseas? Because I know there's differences.
Yeah, there's a lot of differences. Well, it was kind of a unique situation with over here with the COVID, the taxi squad, all that stuff. So, just went over there and found that it was different type of hockey in the sense where very similar as far as skill wise, as far as how the play developed. Obviously, the ice sheet in the KHL is relatively close to NHL size. Some teams and some places had a bigger ice sheet or different dimensions, but that was relatively the same. But a lot of good skilled players there. I think it's definitely a great league as far as the power play, special teams, stuff like that. There's guys who can move the puck and obviously shoot the puck really well. And then some differences as far as the gear. Some goalies, there's no restrictions over there, so some guys looked a little bit bigger than others, and definitely maybe put a couple pads here and added some extra padding here and there. But for the most part, very similar. But just the way of life, right? Got a greater respect for the kids that come over from Europe and Russia that come over here, because kind of the shoes on the other foot, and I went over there and was a little bit more uncomfortable than I thought because, yeah, different way of life, different food, different language, right? Like it just a lot of different variables that go into it. So I think off ice was more of a not a shock, but a more of a kind of different feeling than being on the ice.
How is your Russian? Did you have to pick up some of that along the way too?
Yeah, I picked up a little bit. I just had a cup of coffee there, basically, right? Like I was only there for 5-6 games, so didn't learn too much, but yeah, learned a couple things. Maybe stuff that can't be repeated on the podcast.
Fair enough. We appreciate that, so thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see where we at here. And you played with some pretty well known names in the AHL and the NHL, guys. Tommy Cross, Johnny Brodzinski, Alex Lyon, Zach Ronaldo. Who would you say is a teammate that you've played with that has had the biggest impact on you just as a locker room presence?
Yeah, I think, well, shoot, I've been pretty fortunate. All the goalie partners I've had have been rock solid. I've had a great relationship with them. And then, yeah, they've gone on to play a lot of games, NHL and American League as well. Subi was there. Played with Binnington, Vladder, all those guys I've been goalie partners with, which have been great. And yeah, I think that relationship I've had with all those guys has been instrumental. I mean, I can honestly say I've had great relationships with all my goalie partners. So I think that's been super nice for my career, and I've been super fortunate in that regard. Tommy Cross, especially my first, because I was with him my first couple of years of pro hockey, and yeah, seeing that guy coming to work every day and just seeing his kind of aura and just his presence, right? Like he's a big dude, but not only that, he when he says something, it carries a little bit more weight too, just the way he handles himself. So and then obviously being up with Boston a little bit too, you see Big Z up there and just see what he's done in his career and the way he handles himself. Bergie, Marchand, like they're obviously completely different characters, I guess, right? As far as on the ice, but at the core, they're unbelievable people, and that was cool to see firsthand, like those guys coming to work every day and what they bring. So I think that's when I was more malleable, was when my younger years in seeing those guys.
Yeah, how would you say your time with Boston and with Providence has shaped your professional hockey career?
Yeah, man, they're great organization, great people. Like I think, yeah, would love to obviously been back with them. Just the way of the road, and we went our separate ways. But yeah, definitely definitely shaped my way. I came from the furthest place I played would have been 2 hours in Fargo from my hometown, right? So then I signed my first pro deal and moved away from family, and just had a couple of 7 of us rookies my first year, and just had my new family there, and a lot of changes, a lot of news and firsts when I played in Providence and in Boston. And, yeah, a lot of good memories. But also, yeah, shaped me for the better. And learned a lot of things. Some the hard way, some just learned on my own. But yeah, a lot of good times.
At what point in your professional hockey journey, I guess if we want to call it that way, did it go from being the younger player who's looking up at these guys for the kind of that model of how to be a professional to having some of the younger players who are looking up to you?
Yeah. Shoot. I don't know. I still think like I like to be the younger guy learning, obviously. But yeah, it probably happened, I think when I signed with Vancouver, it would have been year 5 pro hockey, right? They had Mikey DiPietro coming up, myself, and then Richard Bachman in the American League. And yeah, that was maybe the year where, yeah, a little bit more mentorship, but also being a steady presence too. Maybe that was my first little taste of it. But yeah, I think that's probably when it took place.
Yeah, I mean, when you were in Lehigh, I felt very fortunate during that COVID season to be able to see at least, you and Lion guide some of the younger goaltenders and some of the younger kids on the team. I mean, it was a weird season. I know we can all agree on that, but it was really it was neat to see because he was constantly back and forth. I think he was only down there 5 games. You were there holding it up with Sandstrom, and I think you played a pretty big part in Sandy's development.
Yeah. I mean, usually they try to have one veteran and then another young buck coming through the ranks. But yeah, just try to do my part and obviously help the team. And I think when you have an older guy and the younger guy can take notes and learn, and it's one thing to be a rah like cheerleader, but it's another thing to be in the mix and to lead by example. So I've kind of tried to do that throughout my career, and I really had a good time with Sandstrom, and he's doing well now, and he's been up a good majority of the time, so that's been great to see. And as far as Lions too, like he's been great as well, and I think it was good for the younger guys to see how we come to work and how we try to bring it every day.
Yeah,
Speaking
Sandy.
of those, go ahead. You're gonna talk Sandy. I was gonna move on. Go ahead.
Sandy's definitely gonna have to hold it down in Philly right now. So
no, exactly. Yeah, he's capable of it too. So we'll see what happens.
I wanted to ask, speaking of those younger goaltenders that you're working with, Jesper Wallstedt, who the Wild drafted just a couple of years ago here, finally coming over stateside as well. What has it been like working with him, and what can Iowa Wild and Minnesota Wild fans get excited about with his game?
Yeah, it's been great. Being with Wally, it's definitely been awesome. He's obviously a great dude, and obviously a great goalie too. He's got some pedigree, and you look at his resume already. It's fairly full as far as like things you can check off the list. It's a little different as far as the pro game over here compared to the pro game in Sweden. So I think it's taken a little bit to adjust to that. But he's had a great attitude and brings a good presence to him in net. And bigger dude who obviously stops a lot of pucks. So it's been fun to see where where he started as in the preseason to where he's at now, and what could happen in the future.
For sure. So down to our last question here. What advice do you have for kids that are goaltenders looking to go pro, or even kids that are just looking to be goaltenders, the young guns?
That's a great question. I don't really have the magic answer, I guess. I think what it boils down to is like what you put into it, you're going to get out, right? Like growing up, I always tried to be at the rink and really enjoyed when I was in net, like just having fun and working my butt off and trying to stop every single puck, right? And I think that carried over into the games when we'd go in there, and that's when you play for something, right? They keep score, so that's when it counts. So I just enjoyed being the guy and being a part of a team and being in an influential position on the team. And I think for any kid that's playing the position, like there'll be adversity, there'll be stuff that happens, but you can be resilient and you can gain knowledge and continue to improve every day, but also enjoy the grind or enjoy those hard times too, because that makes it all that much better when things do go well for you. And things are different on the other foot, because it makes those successes, those little wins, that much better.
Awesome. Well, Zane, I think that's probably a good place for us to leave it for today. So we'll say good luck tomorrow night against Colorado, and good luck the rest of the season here as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
If you want to stick around for a couple more minutes here, we'll walk you through what we've got for after the show. But that is it for today's episode of American Beauties. Once again, thank you so much to our guest, Zane McIntyre. Thank you as well to our sponsors, Righteous Felon, the Chamonix Creek Brewing Company, Norse Beards, Sterling Pig Brewery, Canadips, the Old City Sports Network, and Fanatics. We will be back next week with more AHL content, so stay tuned to Twitter for updates there. Until then, for Zane McIntyre and Sam Wismer, I'm Dan Bradley. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.
Bye, guys.